Are you a business looking for a fresh new way to reach potential customers? Well, you need to get airtime on IT TV, a 24/7 streaming and on-demand TV service online and on Roku. With Roku having a potential reach of 62 million people, it's a perfect opportunity to reach potential customers through affordable commercial and infomercial spots. Visit us online today at itnetwork.tv.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and thank you for joining us on another episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie, and we have a very interesting show for you today. I know it's going to be interesting. I was just chatting with the guests backstage, and today we're going to have some fun. So I'm going to ask you to do what I always ask you to do, and that is to go ahead and share this show, because friends don't let friends miss out on the Roundtable Talk Show. So while you're going ahead and introducing the show to your friends, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first guest, mainly because I think I'm going to need a friend today. Miss Tiffany Wright. Tiffany is the author of 2 books, including The Funding is Out There, Access the Cash You Need to Impact Your Business, a business blogger and a serial entrepreneur. Her firm, The Resourceful CEO, helps businesses, B2B companies restructure their operations and finances to generate stronger cash flow, higher profits, and greater freedom. Good morning, Miss Tiffany. How are you?
I am doing great, Miss Sharifah.
I need a friend today.
I know all these crypto discussions coming up. Yes.
Absolutely. So tell the people who you are, what you do, and what you're passionate about.
Okay, I'm passionate about helping businesses achieve their goals, especially to achieve their net worth goals. I think a lot of owners start their businesses without having an exit strategy, and therefore they're not able to truly monetize their businesses, and their business kind of get away from them. But by restructuring or installing the infrastructure necessary on the financial side and the general operations side, then they can really monetize the value of their company. I mean, even if they're not ready to sell, monetizing meaning they can significantly, or we can help them significantly increase their cash flow. Like by typically it's anywhere from 2 to 4 times within a year. We can help them drive significantly higher profits and even more revenue. And the biggest thing is to free up the owner time so that they can either spend less time working on the company, think more, work on more strategic initiatives, or even semi-retire. So that's really what I am passionate about. And by doing that, they automatically increase the value of the company, because a company that runs without you as the owner is significantly more valuable than a company that requires you to be there.
Absolutely. We're going to learn more, but I'm going to go over to our next guest, because I might not only need a friend, I might also need a referee, Mr. Oliver Mazwella. Oliver is the co-founder of the Redwater, the first ever art and entertainment company on the blockchain. He is also the founder and creative director of Hallarsan. I'm messing it up. You're going to have to say it.
Hallarsan Group.
Hallarsan Group. I'm horrible with names. I mess up everything. We might have to fix that. A branding firm in Metro Detroit that specializes in visual communications, architecture, and interior design. Forgive me, Oliver.
That's okay.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? Happy to be here.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm happy I'm not in the same room as the 2 Daniels. They seem like they're going to be going back and forth a little bit here. But yeah,
that's
thank
why
you for
the referee.
That's right. Yeah, I'm here for you. Thank you for the introduction. Yep, the Redwater is the first ever art entertainment company launched on the blockchain. We are leaning into a new subset, kind of a new trend that we've established, and what we are calling it is Creatify. And it's a way for creative people or creative projects to get funded, and for communities to be built around projects when they're just an idea. And people in the community can contribute to the project in a way that goes beyond just investing money, but also investing in ideas. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that means, and how we think that's going to change the the way certain entertainment products are developed going forward.
Fantastic. So we're going to go with the first Daniel. Mr. Daniel L. is the co-founder and CEO of Influxo, the premier NFT creative studio and marketplace. Additionally, Daniel L. is an investor, portfolio manager, and compliance expert in the blockchain space. Influxo caters to producing quality collectible collections and one-of-a-kind masterpieces in select collaborations with sports and entertainment personalities to generate exclusive opportunities between supporters and featured collaborators. Influxo is backed by InBlockchain. Good morning, Daniel L. How are you?
Good morning. I'm really appreciated to be here. So, how are you?
I'm excited. I'm excited to get this show started and to learn more about all these ways to make money. Tell us about yourself.
So, as you said, that I am the co-founder and CEO of the Influxo. So we are an NFT creative studio. So our business models are mainly very simple. We want to build a kind of Hollywood studio in the NFT space. So our business model, for first, we are going to connect the celebrities like the soccer stars and Latin American musicians and DJs and bring those people to our NFT markets, to bring those people to the NFT world. And secondly, we are also backed by the InBlockchain. I personally am also a partner of InBlockchain, so we have a lot of experiences in the crypto market. So we wanted to say that crypto is growing, so we need to connect these two worlds, and our function is kind of to serve as a bridge between these two worlds and to interact these two worlds and to make them finally into a one world.
Wonderful. We're going to see what Daniel D has to say because he might have a different opinion. But our next guest is Daniel D. He's the group CEO of Singapore-based Crypto Advisory. Daniel is a fintech veteran, having built and ran FundedByMe, the fastest growing equity crowdfunding portal. Good morning, Daniel D. How are you?
Hi, good morning. How are you guys? It's late afternoon here, but it's great to see that somebody is in Beijing, somebody is in the US and Sweden here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And what are you passionate about?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Group CEO of a Singapore-based crypto advisory firm, and I'm currently based in Sweden, stuck here due to Corona. I've been working in financial technology for the last 15 years, helping companies raise money. And basically, I'm extremely driven by, I'm seeing the world as non-equal, and I see the technology can make it equal. For instance, there's a lot of statistics showing that if you are a different type of group than the optimal one, which is a Swedish white boy, then it's harder and harder to raise money. But if you look at the digital platforms like crypto or equity crowdfunding, the numbers are different. Actually, some subgroups who are not getting funding, they get it. So right now I'm running these products. I'm also initiated a few NFT products this spring. Quite fun to work with NFT products. And in addition, I'm also running 2 crypto coins, which we initiated. One is the CanCoin, which is a industry token for the legal cannabis industry worldwide. And the other one is Influential, which is a coin just about to be minted by influencers for influencers. So there's a lot of excitement in this field and all the fields that I'm in right now, but I'm driven by change making. I really want to see the world evolve a bit.
I like it. So Daniel L, I see you over there nodding. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Daniel D had to say.
So I think that the two Daniels today will have both the synergies. We are very interested in the crypto world, and we also see that there is some imbalances between in the current world situations. So we both see the potentials in the NFTs and also in the influencers and also in the tokens power. So I think I'm very looking forward to the next conversations and I'm hoping there is more good and discussions coming forward.
That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. I'm glad to see you two are finally getting along.
So Oliver, for those people who aren't very familiar with crypto and the blockchain, can you explain it to us a little bit? What is all this talk?
Okay, cryptocurrency is, if you think about traditional money, think about fiat currency. There's always a talk about a central bank creating currency and deriving value behind that currency. And then, so when you look at that model, you have to look at cryptocurrency as a decentralized aspect. Cryptocurrency is it's based on a ledger. It's you know, the blockchain itself is rather simple to understand after you grasp the initial concept. But the overall idea is that it's peer to peer and it's decentralized, and you know, in its truest form, no one can really turn off the switch. It just goes. And I think Bitcoin is the biggest example of that. You know, Bitcoin is completely community controlled. There's not one central person that someone can go to and say, "Hey, change this or do that." And I think cryptocurrency in its decentralized aspect, if we look at Bitcoin as an example, that's like the ideal scenario for cryptocurrency. But what we're doing now and what we're seeing in the industry is that there are tons of projects and subsets of the space that are popping up every day. And people are using this technology to apply it to things that we experience on a day to day basis without even knowing it. There's things like payment processing that are much quicker now because of cryptocurrency. And when the world adopts it, will make us all more connected. There are things like logistics that are going to be revolutionized through cryptocurrency and the ledger and the blockchain. The fact that everything is immutable, unchangeable, and forever permanent makes cryptocurrency this thing that that's going to change the world. I mean, we're hearing every day about data leaks happening with certain companies. That there's, you know, someone hacks a company and now all of these users' personal information is exposed. Well, when you insert the blockchain into that equation, there's a lot of risk that goes away, and so in its kind of cryptocurrency and the blockchain is inherently anonymous. If you want to be, you can be, and that means that, you know, if I have a wallet, I'm fully in control of that wallet, and there isn't, you know, Robinhood had a hack recently that exposed a bunch of user data. You know, it wouldn't happen in the cryptocurrency space. Like you know, there's no identifying information, and so in my mind, the cryptocurrency bridges the gap between safety and security and user data privacy. So
Yeah. And at the
it's
same time,
definitely, yeah,
everything is transparent, right? And you know,
right,
any transaction can be monitored by
that's right,
anybody and verified all the time, which means
right,
that, you know, I totally agree that, you know, the world is changing, but of course, there's huge powers who doesn't want to see the world changing. You know, there's a reason why banks doesn't show their transactions openly. There's a reason why there's um, systems like the ones existing. But on the other hand, there's a huge uproar, a movement from below who is embracing this. Also, having in mind that 75% of the world's population is unbanked, right? So they don't really have access to banks like we do. The problem that we are facing in the Western world, in the US and Beijing and Sweden, is, of course, is that we think that the world looks like our world, but it doesn't. And then another thing which I like a lot is that it's still extremely early days. I'm comparing a lot to crypto with Internet 96. The technology was in there 96 for Internet. Some people started to understand it. Some people wanted to do businesses in it, but nobody really could understand and grasp the immensity of what Internet eventually became and all the ideas and inventions that came. And then in crypto, by a lot of people, is seen as, you know, the better internet, you know, the internet 3.0, where you actually can take all the dreams and ambitions of the internet, but actually put them into real life usage by empowering, you know, the billions of people instead of the few on the top. That's, for me, is very exciting.
it literally the idea of power to the people. Cryptocurrency is that
Yeah.
there's a major shift in who's controlling the money and who's controlling our data, and cryptocurrency is going to solve all of those problems.
Yeah, and if you look at the end of the day, trust is the commodity that crypto is selling, right? You know, trust me that I'm honest. Trust me that I'm doing good things. Trust me that I know what I'm doing. If you look at the U.S. dollar, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people consider the U.S. dollar to be one of the worst shit coins in the world because it's super inflated. It's controlled by a few people. It's not correlated to any wealth or value. It's only correlated to trust in the U.S. government. So that's also very, very interesting when you look at crypto projects which are decentralized. You can't really decide from the top down how a currency should behave. The masses, the people decide if it has a value or not.
That's right.
That's why we can see joke coins like Doge and Shiba Inu suddenly become super big because the crowds want them. The people, hundreds of millions of people want them to succeed, and thus they become valuable.
That's right. And I know that my age is a little bit nebulous here. I know that there are people on this podcast that are a little bit older than me, and there's probably people that are on right now that are a little younger than I am. But the US dollar is also responsible for endless war. And I think that if something, when we talk to people from various generations and we have cross conversations with these people, we're tired and we don't want war anymore, and we don't want poverty, and we don't want financial and economic inequity. And so, there are tons of projects out there, and we all even aspire to see cryptocurrency solve those world issues because they're very real problems. And we think that this is the way to do it because you're putting the power in the hands of the people.
Well, I think something that I like a lot, and we saw with the Arabic Spring, right? With once you put a solution in somebody's hands, it's really hard to take it back. So right now, there's a huge, an entire generation who's growing up, and they will definitely bypass. Most of them will bypass the traditional financial systems. Why open a bank account and beg a bank for services and even pay to have your money deposited when you can go directly to the crypto system where you can get loans and credit cards and leverage products, and you have a plethora of products that you can use worldwide 24/7. While in your, let's say, the traditional financial world, it's not really easy to get a bank account or use financial services if you're not used to them. So I like, for instance, I have a 17-year-old daughter, and I see that her entire generation will most likely shift directly into crypto and bypass the old systems. And it's almost like us, right? Why would we use a obsolete and old system if we have one which is slightly better or even a lot better, right? You're always going to want the better system, the fairer system, the cheaper system, and also the most effective system. Like if I want to transfer money right now to Daniel in Beijing, he can have them into 10 seconds from me. But if I would want to use the traditional financial system, I think I would be lucky if I can transfer money to China in a week's time. Most likely it wouldn't happen.
Right, and you may be stopped by the traditional financial institutions, and it will need to require you to submit so many KYC stuffs that normally it's very hard for the normal people to get it. So I think really the crypto has the potential, like you said, to change the world to be a more fair world and something like that. And I also wanted to take another two fancy words, maybe everybody here right now in the mainstream news. The first one is NFTs. Maybe it's somewhat connected to cryptos. And the next word is metaverse. We know that Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg has already renamed his company to the metaverse. I think those two words and also representative of the mainstream medias are getting the hand and getting the grab of the concept of the cryptos. So what do you think about those two ideas and those two concepts?
There's a question too.
Yeah. I think perhaps maybe Oliver. Yep.
Yeah. So look, like what we're seeing right now is NFTs are being used to unlock all kinds of experiences. Think about it as kind of a one-of-a-kind event ticket. And so we're seeing that happen. And what we're planning on doing within our project is tying these NFTs into gaming. And so now you have the opportunity of earning NFTs while you game, which there are some projects doing some things like that now. But when you think about it on the level of like a Fortnite, or even think about Facebook's recent move to further develop the metaverse, NFTs are going to be something that validates a whole bunch of different transactions and experiences for people. And the fact that they can be minted one at a time makes that even more special because you're holding something that is one of a kind forever. And it's unchangeable and immutable. I think that one thing I would love for people to understand is that when you have projects like ours here, and you're hearing about some of these things, there's probably 1,000 or 10,000 projects out there that nobody hears about, and they're all laying a ton of groundwork that we as part of the underground community of crypto are really excited about. And that's why we're really leaning into these projects in our own rights and trying to develop them, because we know that the wave that's coming is much larger than a Shiba Inu or a Dogecoin, or which we've known about for months before they were ever mainstream. But you know, for every project that rises to the top and the media starts to give it attention and it starts to become accessible for people to exchange and trade, there are 1,000 projects in the background developing technology.
I definitely think we see the same wave as we saw in the late 90s, with the internet and internet companies coming, and there's going to be, there's already a huge crypto boom, but I think definitely that's extremely early on. What I like about NFTs from an artist's perspective, I used to be a curator. I used to do conceptual exhibitions for quite many years. And right now we're working again with artists, but a huge thing that I like with NFTs for artists is that anybody can become an artist. You can be a kid in an Indian poor village, and you can still make a few $100s by just creating art. That's something that couldn't happen before. Bypassing the gatekeepers is extremely hard. Another thing is for an artist, of course, is you might sell an art piece today when you are a young artist, but 20 years later you don't even know where that piece is. NFTs allow you to trace the current ownership, and also you can trace the price changes in your art piece. And something that a lot of NFT artists like is the potential to create perpetual royalties, meaning that if I'm selling an art piece now, but then I'm going to sell that onwards, so that art piece increases in value, usually artist doesn't see anything of that growth in value increase, that increase in value growth, right? But if you create a contract where it says that the artist is entitled to 2% of every sale, or 10% or whatever percentage you bake into the NFT contract, that creates a way to feed starving artists. In any country that you're in right now, some artists at the top, they make a lot of money, and then the rest basically are doing it because they're passionate or driven. And NFTs open up a huge possibility for the art sector. Then, of course, as Daniel, I think, said before, there's tens of thousands of people that are doing the same thing. So cutting through the noise is the hard part. But that's the same in life, right? Just because I'm doing something awesome, 7 billion people will never applaud me if they don't know that I'm doing something awesome.
Right. Absolutely. And pay attention to what he said. The important thing there is contract. It's immutable and it's unchangeable, but who's in control? I mean, the art world specifically has been notorious for being controlled by just a few people. The same thing that we have with the US dollar. And so this idea of wealth being so centralized and cryptocurrency and the blockchain affording people the opportunity to make it about them. I mean, as an artist, I can create my own contract and push it out there and create value for it. And so then if someone buys it, I can benefit from it forever. So it's really exciting. Really exciting.
Yeah.
We're
and I think Oliver also mentioned, the play to earn new segment, which is coming right now. There's a lot of people that are looking at play to earn. So there's a lot of people who are playing games who are now a mixture between old time games and crypto, like for instance, Axie Infinity. And there's a lot of people who, by gaming, let's say 8-10 hours a day, you can evolve your character and actually make proper money. Once again, why should a poor kid in India do shoes for Nike when they can play games instead and make money on them or create art? So once again, this is what I like a lot about crypto, because it flattens the curve. It doesn't matter anymore if you are wealthy, famous, or poor or unknown. If you have something of quality and you want to tell the world, there's always going to be somebody who likes that and wants to support that and back you up. I've been working, as I mentioned, 10 years with crowdfunding, and there was the same thing there. Everybody thought that crowdfunding, especially for equity crowdfunding, where you invest, will never work. And, there's been billions raised in crowdfunding globally. And this is also a new phenomenon, which has the same roots, is that power to the people and the crowds matter more than the one institution. And I can tell you, having 1,000 people investing in your company or supporting your crypto is far better than having one investor who has a chunk of money and a bunch of opinions.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
how you doing down
I
there?
totally agree with Oliver and Daniel. So, and I also think that three of us are all from the crypto space, and we are the OG fans of the things. But for me, the current project I work in is Influxo. The Influxo is kind of the vision is that to build a bridge between our OG world to the real world. So we are working with the real artists, like the real soccer fans like Ronaldinho in Brazil. So we wanted to say that this is a great thing. This is a cool concept and it's going to work. The reason why it's going to work because every important part of life is going to be digital. So everything will be online. So our work will be transferred from factories to laptops and from the boardrooms to the Zooms like today. Our friends may be transferred from the neighbors to the followers, and our games, like Oliver and Daniel just mentioned, the GameFi, there will more kids were going to play Fortnite and some other internet games than basketball, football, and something like that. So for me, my goal is that this is a great new world. So we need to bring these things to more people. So that's why, and that's our vision for the Influxo. We wanted to build the things, and I talked to many celebrities for the real world who doesn't know anything about cryptos, and I just want to make propaganda to them, something like that, and to say that you need to be involved in this world and bring this word to other peoples. So that's my thing. And one thing, maybe I have a question to Tiffany, because my business model is kind of like the B2Bs. I need to face to the celebrities. So sometimes it's really hard for them to understand something like NFTs, those new concepts, and there is a licensing agreement involved, and there is more like a licensing business or something like that. So what do you think about this business model, or what do you think, how can we just persuade more mainstream leaders or thought leaders or those VIPs into this world and to see the potential of this world?
I think by focusing on the fact that they'll be able to reach more people and do so at different price points. I think by focusing on that, that's how you'll capture them, and that they'll be on the cutting edge of this new technology. But talking only about, because I mean, I heard Daniel, the other Daniel, and you, Oliver, talking about how equitable it is and so on. But I don't see, I mean, I travel around the world and I don't see the impact of crypto on the small Kenyan village or the little Panamanian town or whatever that I'm seeing, like, you know, in China or the US or whatever. So yes, perhaps it's supposed to be more egalitarian ultimately, but what I see is a lot of discussion amongst educated people or, you know, tech savvy people with significant connectivity to the internet and so on. So I think, so for Daniel Liu, I think by focusing on, again, by being able to reach more people and being able to, as you said, serve as the bridge to this new technology that they may not have that much understanding of, but that's obviously here to stay and will only grow. I think by doing that, that's how you'll be able to resonate with them.
Excellent. Excellent. I believe we're going in a different direction. So many interesting points just came. When Tiffany speaks, I tell you. So we're going to stop for a brief commercial break and we'll be right back.
You need jordansrooter.com. Get free estimates, 24-hour service, special discounts for seniors and veterans. That's jordansrooter.com. Have a home repair or some remodeling you need done? No problem. We can handle all that too. Give us a call today at 800-300-0358. At Jordan's Rooter, we take pride in our work and always make sure to get the job done right the first time. That's jordansrooter.com. We want to be your Mr. Fix-It.
I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really needed
a good business consultant.
And I kept searching and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list. But I finally did it.
Yes. Thank you.
If you are looking for one as well, look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend. Problem gone.
Thank you.
Yes, this has been an interesting conversation today. I've taken some mental notes and I have to do more research into all of this crypto conversations. But I would love your thoughts, David, to Tiffany's response to your question.
So I think
I apologize.
I think the question is for me. So I think I totally agree with Tiffany. I think that's what the vision of. I keep saying that this is the original intent and the vision of our project in Fluxo is that we're going to connect the real big power influencers like the sports athletes, the entertainment stars, and we need to invite them to involve in our crypto space, and we need to make sales to them that we will sell the good concept and also the good technology and infrastructure, and to use their influences to bring more people into the crypto world. I think Tiffany is totally right. Nobody, maybe in Kenya or maybe in some other parts of the world, in rural areas in India, nobody knows about cryptos. They only know how to do the internet. Some of them just get the early access to the smartphones, maybe just this year or last year. So, but they knew those big stars, the entertainment, the soccer players like Ronaldinho, or like other Brazilian soccer players, or also the big NBA stars like James LeBron. So if those people can be involved in our crypto project, such as using the concept of the NFT, I think more and more people will get more access to the crypto world, and they will be more and more earlier to be equipped with those concepts like decentralizations and blockchain technologies and metaverse. So that's my thought.
Yeah. No, I definitely think you are right here. But I think seeing crypto being extremely early, it's still very, very early. It's less than 3 or 4% of the world's population who actually has touched crypto, which is extremely early days, right? But it takes a lot of good examples, and I totally agree with Daniel Liu from Beijing here that influencers is the key to a lot of things. We are working right now, as I mentioned before, with Influential, which is a cryptocurrency for the influencer world. We're doing play to earn NFT series also for the influencers. So we're starting with 37 million people as a reach, which is a lot. It's not super much, but it's a lot. But the point here is exactly how Daniel says, look, we are doing something good, and then trust travels. You do something good, you tell somebody else, that person tells it to their fans. And a lot of people are definitely going to the top influencers, as you mentioned, Ronaldinho and LeBron. I believe in micro influencers a lot. I do believe that, for instance, me, I'm not being paid by any advertising agency because I'm too small. I don't reach millions of people. I reach 20, 25,000 people, something like that, which I think is a lot, but it's not a lot. But micro influencers, a lot of people think that's the future, because even if I reach 20,000 people, I can talk to them all the time and I have a relationship to them. While a super influencer, let's say Kardashians, they can only do a one shout, being paid, and they walk away. They can't constantly interact with their audience. So especially the advertising industry right now is looking at, once again, how are you reaching the masses? How are you going from the almost like the top down thing, like we're doing something here which is awesome. How do we reach as many people as possible? And I also agree with you guys, with Tiffany and Daniel, that perhaps we're not seeing yet in every Kenyan village crypto being embraced from the village perspective. But I can promise you, I can guarantee you, if there's electricity or some kind of Wi-Fi connection or anything, of course, if that's not, it's not. But if there's some kid playing crypto games, or is making a few $100 per month in crypto trading, because we see a lot more new people coming to this industry rather than the traditional ones who had to go through a bunch of universities and such to be employed by Morgan Stanley. But when you can bypass that entirely and only be driven by interest, you absorb a huge amount of knowledge. And this is the positive, once again, about crypto and the internet, is that everything is available for everybody all the time. So if you have some inclination of interest, you can definitely find people like you or information that you can use. And if not, there's plenty of crypto advisors and crypto people out there who have done it well. Unfortunately, there's also scammers and people who try to use the system as it is in the real world. So people have to be careful, right? But transparency for me is the best police.
Yeah, and so I know the internet connectivity issue is a problem, and I think that time will only make it better. But if we compare access to cryptocurrency and what's needed in order to access cryptocurrency to what's needed to access traditional banking, cryptocurrency just seems so much easier. And the reason I say that is because I can access cryptocurrency. All I really need is a smartphone and an internet connection. And if I want to if I want, let's say, to open a traditional bank account, I've got to arrange travel. I need to go there, probably set up an appointment, sit down with a banker, figure out, what I need, documentation, this type of stuff to open this bank account or to get this mortgage or what have you. And the process is centralized, like we were saying, but it's also it needs a whole bunch of steps and people involved in order to make something happen, even something as simple as opening a bank account. But with cryptocurrency, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to jump in there.
Yep.
Since I've helped a lot of businesses open up bank accounts, you can do it online. If you have multiple owners, then it becomes an issue. But if it's just one owner or one individual, it's easy to open a bank account online. But
but you need the internet for that, right?
Which you need you need the internet for crypto too. So, but my good
you
question
need the internet for crypto too.
So do you don't have to verify your identity with crypto, which sets you. Which
you don't have to verify your identity.
Yes, which also
but the
has
transactions are all verified.
Money laundering. So so I just think it's decentralized. But there also are things that need to be considered because like there is the opportunity for scams. There is, someone coming in who doesn't know. Yes, it's open to the community.
Right.
But Dogecoin. So you bought at the low end and you made a bunch of money when it went up, but when it crashed back down, you could have lost everything. So it just, and people who don't understand any of this, where are they learning learning about crypto and so on? So I believe in crypto and I don't currently invest in crypto, but I have a strategy for it. And I will be investing in it in 2022 or buying it, whatever the term is, in 2022. But I'm just saying these are some of the things that I think need to be considered.
But
and
we agree. I don't think anybody on this call disagrees. One second, I'm sorry. I don't think anybody on this call disagrees. Okay.
And we need to balance vision,
right,
and what will happen in the future with what is actually happening right now, and do like Daniel Liu said, and bridge that, and not just talk about the how it's going to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now, but how do we bridge that, and how do we address the real issues that can slow down the adoption of it?
You're 100% right. So we recently had, a few months ago, we had an opportunity to give an opinion. I forget what publication, but it was specifically related to regulation. And as much as we love the decentralized aspect of cryptocurrency, I don't think anybody on this call disagrees that there needs to be regulation. Inherently in its nature, cryptocurrency is decentralized, and it's something that anybody can use to do nefarious things with. Somebody can walk by on the sidewalk and see a bicycle and they like it and they take it. Does that mean that just because they're living in an analog space that they've been enabled any more than someone who's living in a digital space to do something wrong? No. So I think that people are going to do.
I can actually add some statistics here because this is really interesting, and I love how what Tiffany adds to the discussion, because she represents a lot of people who are maybe not as in love with us as crypto, perhaps cautious or careful, which is nice, right? But you're using the US dollar without thought. You started using the dollar, you use it the entire life, and that's considered to be the biggest shitcoin in the world, right? It's not stable, it's not connected to gold or anything. But the point here is that, look, what do you know what the actual statistics number of how many percentage of cryptocurrencies has been used for illegal activities in 2019 and 2020?
No, I don't.
It's 2.5-3%, which is a lot. It's extreme a lot when you think about it's a $3 trillion industry, right? But if you look at the US dollar, the euro, or the yuan in China, it's 5.5%, right? So I think we all have to be very, very careful on what kind of data are we absorbing, and how are we giving that data onwards? Like, who is giving us this information? As we mentioned before, there's a lot of people who don't really like change, and especially the established systems who are in power. They don't want anybody coming in and saying, well, we want power too, or we want also a piece of the pie. They want it to be as it's been for the last 400 years. The monetary systems that we are in right now are from the 1600s, right? Which is interesting that we still are using systems from the 1600s, but we shouldn't when we have better systems. But it's going to be a lot of time until the people in power are giving away power. You know, revolutions don't come overnight. They don't happen. Usually there are waves. They're not, crashes. And I definitely think that those who are being helped, they are embracing this and loving it. Those who are not, who see their status quo or their daily livelihood disappearing, like a lot of investors and analytics and bankers, of course they're scared. Or governmental employees. Nobody wants to give away power when you don't have to give away power. But you're right, Tiffany, it is early days. Almost like the internet. There's a lot of people being scammed on the internet every day, even though internet has been around for 40 years. And also, as Oliver said, in real life, people are being scammed and stolen, and it's happening all day. You're not banning real life just because some people are misbehaving in real life. You try to put boundaries and rules, right? And the same with, as Oliver said, regulation is a bad word in crypto because crypto doesn't want to be regulated. It wants to be free because it's in its nature. But the world has to put boundaries and rules because we have them. Even in the playing grounds, we have some certain rules that we all need to follow if we want to the games to happen. And I don't think regulation is bad. Actually, I do believe when you have the sets of rules and regulations, people know how to adapt and act with them. And you mentioned Doge before. I think the Dogecoin is the perfect example on how something that doesn't have underlying value still can become extremely valuable because hundreds of millions of people believe in it. Like the US dollar, once again. The US dollar doesn't have any correlation to reality. It's just trust. We're trusting the US government. They will behave even 4 years from now or 8 years from now, which is not a given anymore, right? So that creates a huge problem when the dollar is not correlated to gold anymore. And in crypto, you have the same thing. It's trust, transparency, and a lot of other things. But at the end of the day, it's embracement. Bitcoin will most likely not implode because it's so huge and so big. But I'm surely there's going to be other coins coming up which are going to become better, more effective. Like Ethereum, for instance. Ethereum became basically the infrastructure for all DeFi projects worldwide, almost, right? While Bitcoin became a wealth storage and wealth speculation instead, which it wasn't intended for, but that's what it became. And then you have other competitors like, Cardano and Ripple and Solana, who also are coming out from the bottom and say, look, we also want a piece of the pie. And what we know as a fact is that the world is changing very fast. Remember MySpace? MySpace was huge before Facebook.
Right.
I was laughing when Facebook came. I was like, this is never going to work. Why would we use Facebook when we have MySpace, right? And the same with Second Life. We had play to earn and virtual properties and virtual coins already in 2006, 2007. But it was extremely early days. Right now, what we're seeing is mass adoption. We see the world becoming more educated. Internet is more available. Wi-Fi is cheaper. Electricity is cheaper. So that's why we're going to see this third wave, which a lot of people expect to be in the billions, because the internet adoption was fairly slow. It took almost 30, 40 years to come up to this point, and we're still not there yet.
Yeah, mobile technology would definitely help drive. It's definitely helped drive internet adoption especially in rural parts of the world or those that don't have direct connection to fiber. Yeah, I totally get your point, and thank you very much for that explanation. I appreciate it.
For anyone looking for information on cryptocurrency, there's a project out there called Hoge, Hoge, and they have what's called Hoge University, and that's a project that I've been invested in for a long time, been involved in for a very long time, since maybe like a week after its launch. And they, through Hoge University, because we all understand in the underground world that we have to have education before mass adoption really happens. So check that out. Check out Hoge University. I mean, I know you said shameless plug. It's not really my project, but for anyone that is looking for more information on how to easily access some of this stuff, that would probably be the place that I start.
Thank you. Very good tip. I was actually just browsing and checking it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
just a huge reminder to those kids who just listen to us that cryptos is anonymous and they can do whatever they want, like smuggler or drug dealer, something like that. I just want to have a big reminder to you that crypto, it sounds like it's a decentralized technology, but also it is also built on trust. And the reason why so many people trust that, because it's also an open public ledger. So if we are going to do something criminal, I think that you have to really be aware of that. Sometimes it's more easy to track you. It's more easy traceable to you. So I just have
100%.
a big reminder to you that somebody, if they want to do something criminal, I think, and if they're not very, very technology adept, so I just very
100%. And having hundreds of millions of people. Having hundreds of millions of people policing the system, you can't buy that for money, right? It's decentralized. Even the policing of the system is decentralized because everybody does that in their own time. And you're totally correct. And I think, Daniel, you correct me if I'm wrong, but we see some changes. Like in 2017 and 18, we saw a lot of crypto projects coming. 90% of them imploded or died or were scams. I see far less. People expect to come more now because it's such an influx in prices, and Bitcoin and Ethereum being at all-time high. Obviously, it attracts the shady people too. But I've seen less scams. Obviously, we had now the Squid Game scam that was very interesting to see. A quick rug pull, $2.2 million in one theft, which it did work. But for people who are using crypto for a while, for me, I had a bunch of alarm bells going off. My spider senses were tingling when I checked that project. I was like, look, if I'm gonna YOLO some money in this, it's gonna be $10 or $100. I'm not gonna put my entire savings in it. And I think Tiffany mentioned that before, is that people have to be careful in whatever you do. Trading online, crypto trading, in investment, there's always a risk, right? If you want to be safe, then you don't turn your money. You keep them in your mattress, or perhaps you give them to a bank if you want to pay the bank to keep your money. But people have to be careful. And I think, as Daniel said and Oliver, information is available. So you can definitely increase your knowledge level. You can definitely check everything behind the scenes. And this is the beauty of crypto in a way, is that just because I'm saying something, you don't need to take my word for that. Everything I'm saying can be proven or tested on the blockchain. Yeah.
Okay.
And here, I do have one thing I want to add. If you're bridging the gap, so for instance, I'm bridging the gap. So I have a TD Ameritrade account and I have Robinhood, and so I will trade my cryptocurrency on either of those two platforms. I see, Robinhood came under a lot of fire, not so much for cryptocurrency, but for options. And I like seeing that there's all these people who are, I guess, more millennials who are making all this money off of options, when, older generations generally didn't truly invest in options until maybe they hit their late 40s or something like that. And so they're making, so some of those individuals are making money. Like there was one example where one guy made as much money in a year as his father had amassed in 20 years. Yeah. So I believe that it's there. I believe in cryptocurrency. I'm just telling people to just do your homework. Yeah. You invest in whatever you feel comfortable with. Risk, if you're going to start trading cryptocurrency, then, maybe do 5 or 10% or whatever you feel comfortable with, and then proceed from there.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to hear from Oliver.
Do your research and ask me. So connect with me on social media.
That's good.
You're going to get your questions answered. You're not going to be reading an article. I'm here. Okay. Yeah. I jump on calls all the time. I've even had friends sitting next to me at my desk, and I have their phones. I'm investing for them and showing them how to do it. So I've been doing this for a long time. I love to share the information. Oliver Nasralah on all social media. And if you have something, DM me. I've got you.
And I think that goes for all of us. I think all of us are apparently very generous in our information giving, and we have a positive mindset. So I'm also reachable. So you can definitely reach me too if you have any questions or are curious in this game.
Wow, I think everybody just did the takeaway right there, and it's not ready for the takeaway. But since you wanted to the takeaway,
Right.
let's
I
go ahead.
have more. I have more for the takeaway.
Okay, well, now it's time for the takeaway. We have had a very interesting show. I think this is one of the most interesting, I won't say interesting, the most back and forth we've had on any show since I've been back on the air. It's been a lot of fun, but we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today. And we're going to start with you, Daniel L. You're going to be first.
Right, thank you. So once again, very glad to be here. So just want to add before the last round of the discussion. I think, of course, there are less scams in the crypto world, but people, if you are new in this space, you really need to do your own research and take your own risk. And also just ask the experienced people and look for the project with real people backed like us, right? We are kind of the experts right here in this space. So feel free to reach us. So as I said, that currently I'm working maybe 80%, 90% speed at our new project in Fluxo. And next week, we're going to do an NFT live auction for Ronaldinho. So we will going to sell his masterpieces, the NFT art for him. And also with this NFT, you can unlock the real world experiences, which clearly fits our vision to bridge the virtual world and the real world together. So you can unlock the real experiences for Ronaldinho in Dubai, and you can have a free trip if you win the auctions. So looking forward to that. You can reach me. You can reach me at influxo.com, and you can also search my name at LinkedIn. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm going to go over to Daniel D.
Yeah, thank you. So such an interesting conversation, and sorry, Tiffany, to interrupt you sometimes. So we're just so excited. So my takeaway is very, very simple. Look, I don't know how plane flies. I don't know how electricity works. I don't know how the internet works. I still use them. I'm sitting on a couch. I cannot manufacture a couch. So I think a lot of people just need to chill down. You don't really need to understand crypto to start using it. You don't need to understand the full complexity of the code source, the source code, right? But I think there's a lot of people who can start thinking about, okay, how can I use this in my day-to-day matters? One thing is, of course, speculation. I'm buying one Bitcoin and I'm selling them more expensively, or I'm buying a new coin, I'm selling it more expensive, or I'm creating art and I can find new buyers. But the idea is that it's almost like, imagine that you were in 1996 and you had a company and you were about to do something good. What would have you done if you knew how the world would change? Of course, you would have made a lot of changes, right? And I would definitely have invested in Amazon in the dip in 2001. But the point here is that do not let something awesome that's happening that hundreds of millions already has touched go by you. Take 5 minutes and spend on YouTube, or call any of us and just ask us. Get your toes wet, because something interesting is happening. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to change the world as we know it dramatically, but it's going to definitely it's going to definitely become a new layer on top of a lot of our thinking. And if you want to do a successful company, I think definitely in crypto is where the most excitement is right now. I would definitely put my money into some kind of an interesting coin who has a purpose, not some kind of not joke coins. I would definitely look at the NFT segment, and something that I think is going to be the next big thing also in crypto is play to earn. Basically, people using certain mechanisms to make money, which is not speculation, which is basically at the end of the day, earnings. That's what I'm excited about. And if you want to look at my projects, which I'm doing right now, and learn from them, one is called thecanncoin.com. It's a cannabis coin for the legal cannabis industry. And the other one we're just about to launch is called Influencio.io. It's an influencer coin for influencers, and it's also an NFT play to earn platform. So through that platform, you will be able to connect to your favorite celebrity or sportsman or influencers, and thus reach them. So we're quite excited about what's happening, and it's also so exciting to share this excitement with so many peers, because it's almost like the early days of the gold rush. Something is interesting, a lot of people want in. Not everybody knows exactly what to bet or gamble on, but the energy is definitely high.
Absolutely. I remember I wish I would have purchased a whole bunch of one-word domains back in the 90s. That's my people ask, what is your biggest regret? Like, I wish I'd have got
Yeah.
all these domains back then. Mr.
Yeah.
Oliver.
Yes, keep that. I mean, put things in perspective. So we're looking back and we're saying, well, I wish I would have purchased domains. This is your opportunity to figure out a way to get involved. Think creatively, look at the space, see where it's at, and see how you can elbow your way through a nice position into the future here. We didn't talk about the Red Order. I want everyone to visit redorder.io. I want everyone to find us on Telegram. Look into Hoj.finance. Those guys are great. They're doing a lot of things, and they've been around for a long time. It's a project that's near and dear to my heart. Follow me, social media at Oliver Nasralah. I'm on most socials. Follow the Red Order on Twitter, Red Order Token. And I'm sorry for smirking every once in a while. And I've got this chat open here. We're on Telegram, and we've got a handful of people in here talking. And they told me they wanted me to take my shirt off for them. I'm not going to do it because I think that
No, please, please.
Although I believe it would be one of your highest viewed
please.
podcasts.
I'm gonna tip you
guys
digitally. I'm gonna
Listen,
buy some
Daniel,
Red Order coins right
these
now.
two Daniels. Okay, I'll do it if you do it. So I mean, you're not gonna bait me. I won't do it for money, but I'll do it if you do it.
Easy.
But yeah, that's no. It's been great. I hope to come back someday and talk more. And like I said, if anyone has any questions about anything, please feel free to contact me. I always take time out of my day to help people, and I think that's the only way that this is going to happen. It's through information sharing, and if we decentralize that and rely less on articles and the news media and rely more on each other, then it's just the space will benefit from it in the long run. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. This is one show that went all over the place. I'm like, how do we get to taking our shirts off? Like, how did that happen?
I'll show you the chat. It's right here.
I love it. No, you followed the rabbit hole down there. I love this. I love this energy.
Right, and Daniel D could take his shirt off because no one can see him.
Miss Tiffany, what do you have for the people?
Well, don't contact me about crypto. You can maybe contact me in about 6 months. But let me thank everyone on here because you have really raised my my knowledge significantly. I've been wondering what exactly, I look up the actual descriptions of the words. I'm still like, I don't know what that means.
Right.
But by talking today, I now understand what blockchain means, NFT, and all of that. So thank you very, very much. But you can reach me on social media at the Resourceful CEO. I think I'm on Twitter at Resourceful CEO, but everywhere else I'm at the Resourceful CEO. And although it has nothing to do with blockchain or cryptocurrency or NFTs, if you need help funding your business with US money or euros,
don't do it.
then I'm giving away 5. Let me see. Can you see this? 5 of these books to just DM me and make sure you put that you saw me on Ask Sharifah.
Yeah, so you're giving away 4 because one is mine. One is for
okay.
I'm looking for the U.S.
I'll send you one. Yes, okay.
You know what I mean? So definitely put that in the comment section. What they have to do to receive a copy of your book and put a link to it so they can see it. This has been an incredible show. Surprise after surprise after surprise. Sometimes I have to get people to talk. Today, that was not a problem. Had to work on getting people to stop. So I'm sure this show is going to be shared over and over and over. I want to thank you all for being a guest on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. And I especially want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives. I definitely appreciate your support. But as always, I ask that you not just watch the show, not just share the show. I appreciate that, but that you support our guests. Our guests are here this morning to entertain, educate, and help you. So please support them. Visit their websites. Their website link is in the description. Also follow them on social media. Reach out to them. Send them a message. And when you do, please let them know Sharifah Hardie says hi. Now, if you're interested in more ways that I can help your business, or maybe you want to be a guest on the Roundtable Talk Show, please visit my website at AskSharifah.com. Until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.